The first time the galaxy saw Earth's Starfighter, they laughed. And not a polite chuckle, either. We're talking the kind of laugh that makes someone spill their drink and point, gasping for air, while their friends pound the table. The kind that burns. The kind you remember. To be fair, they had reasons. Out of the colossal armadas of the Orion Confederacy, the obsidian dreadnoughts of the VYR Dominion, and the crystalline cruisers of the Tlax hierarchy, Earth wheeled out, brace yourself, a single ship roughly the size of a city bus. Shaped like a shoe someone had tried to iron flat. Its hull was patchy, paint flaking. The engine glow sputtered like a dying campfire. They called it cute. Cute. In the Galactic Assembly's War Council chamber, laughter roared off the walls of the amphitheater. 10,000 alien dignitaries in jeweled robes, glimmering scales, or translucent gelatinous bodies shook with amusement. And right in the center of it all, sipping a cup of Earth's own coffee like he'd wandered into the wrong conference, was Captain Elias Gray. Gray smiled the way a knife does before it cuts. "Gentle beings," he said pleasantly, standing beside the holographic projection of Earth's so-called Starfighter. "I understand your amusement. It's natural. Our vessel may appear modest compared to your majestic fleets, but I assure you, appearances can be deceiving." That only made them laugh harder. The VYR Overcommander, a reptilian slab of armored muscle with tusks bigger than Gray's forearm, leaned forward. "Human," he hissed. "We possess ships that darken suns. Your shuttle is a toy. Do you truly intend to bring this into war?" Gray sipped his coffee, savoring it, letting the silence stretch until it was almost rude. Then he shrugged. Why not? That was the hook. That tiny shrug, that nonchalance, was what turned the galaxy's laughter into something else entirely, though they didn't realize it yet. The War Council wasn't supposed to exist. The galaxy hadn't united in 10,000 years. They bickered, they traded, they occasionally vaporized one another's moons over fishing rights. But then came the Harvesters. No one knew where the Harvesters had come from. They appeared on the edges of mapped space like rust blooming on steel, their fleets vast, mindless, and relentless. They consumed worlds, strip-mined suns, and left only husks behind. Entire civilizations vanished in weeks. Even the great empires buckled. Desperation breeds strange bedfellows. Suddenly, enemies who'd spent centuries scheming to kill each other were rubbing elbows in a war council, trying to cobble together a united defense. And then Earth showed up late to the party. Nobody had even invited them properly. Humans weren't considered spacefaring powers. But Earth had stumbled into the galactic spotlight anyway, waving their little tin can starfighter like a toddler with a cardboard sword. Enter Captain Gray, Earth's representative, negotiator, and, apparently, comedian. The laughter died only when the council adjourned for the day. But it followed Gray into every corridor, every reception hall. He heard it in the hissing laughter of the Tlax as their crystalline bodies chimed like mocking bells. He saw it in the smirks of the Orion aristocrats as they swirled their iridescent wines. Gray ignored them. He wandered the station, always with that polite smile, always sipping coffee. Aliens whispered, "Doesn't he know how ridiculous this is?" Of course he knew. He was counting on it. Because humans, unlike most galactic species, had grown up prey. Fragile bodies, weak claws, dull teeth. The only way they'd survived Earth's evolutionary brawl was by becoming creative and patient, and a little bit mean when it counted. The first skirmish against the Harvesters came a week later. The Allied fleet assembled like a storm front, 1,000 dreadnoughts, carriers, cruisers, destroyers, battlespheres, so much firepower that even a sun might think twice. At the very rear of this armada, like a joke sticker on the back of a war machine, was Earth's single Starfighter. The alien commanders hadn't wanted it there at all, but Gray had been insistent. "One ship is all we ask. Consider it a demonstration." They'd agreed, mostly to shut him up. When the harvesters arrived, it was like watching an ocean fall out of the sky. Their ships were black waves of metal, swarming in endless tides, blotting out the stars. The galaxy's fleets unleashed hell. Beams of annihilation carved through harvester swarms. Nova bombs detonated, tearing holes in the tide. Plasma storms raged across the void. 4 hours, the battle raged, glorious, apocalyptic, and costly. For every harvester that fell, 10 more surged forward. The Allies began to falter. Commanders shouted. Fleets broke formation. The harvesters pushed closer, closer, until panic rippled through the ranks. And that's when Gray's voice, calm as ever, cut through the comm channels. "Permission to engage?" The Council's admirals didn't even bother replying. But Gray didn't wait for permission anyway. His little bus-sized fighter detached from the rear guard and drifted forward, a toy among titans. The aliens watching laughed again, even in the middle of their desperation. And then it fired once. Just once. No blinding flash, no earth-shaking boom. Just a thin, needle-like pulse of light. Blink and you'd miss it. It streaked across the battlefield and struck the nearest harvester ship. The harvester didn't explode. It didn't shatter. It simply stopped. And then, like dominoes, so did every other harvester vessel. The tide froze mid-surge. Tens of thousands of ships, locked in place, dead silent. For one heartbeat the galaxy held its breath. And then, in eerie synchrony, the entire harvester fleet folded in on itself, collapsing like paper swallowed by fire. In seconds, nothing remained but drifting ash. Silence. The battlefield, once a maelstrom of carnage, was empty. The stars shone again. And at the center of it all, Earth's ridiculous little starfighter drifted quietly, its coffee-sipping captain smiling faintly in the cockpit. The galaxy didn't laugh after that. No one spoke for a long time. The comm channels buzzed only with static and stunned silence. Eventually, the VYR over-commander managed to rasp, What was that?" Gray's voice was mild. "Oh, that? Just a little trick we cooked up. We call it a needle. Simple concept, really. You hit the right node in a system's command lattice, and the rest topples. House of cards, you know." The aliens didn't know. They didn't even know what a house of cards was. But they understood toppled. The Tlax hierarch, shimmering like broken glass, whispered, "You dismantled an entire fleet, with one shot." Gray chuckled softly. "Well, efficiency is the mother of survival where we come from. Or was it necessity? I always mix that one up." That night, the council met again. No laughter now. Only whispers, glances, and the sound of fear slipping into the room like smoke. The Orion noblewoman, usually smug as a cat with cream, leaned across the table. "Captain Gray, what is the range of your needle?" Gray stirred his coffee, clink of spoon against ceramic sharp in the silence. "Range." He looked thoughtful. "Oh, infinite more or less. Light's a funny thing. Give it the right path, the right amplification, it'll get anywhere eventually." The silence grew colder. The VYR over-commander growled, tusks quivering. "Why reveal this weapon now? Why not before?" Gray smiled that polite knife smile. "Because you were laughing. And sometimes, people need to laugh before they can listen." Rumors spread faster than plasma fire. Whispers of Earth's needle raced across the galaxy. Entire empires panicked. Some tried to court humanity immediately: alliances, trade pacts, marriage offers, desperate bribes. Others plotted frantically, wondering if they could strike Earth before the humans struck them. The galaxy, once united against the harvesters, now fractured into a new, sharper fear: the humans. And through it all, Gray remained maddeningly calm. Always smiling. Always sipping coffee. He wandered alien palaces as though they were garden strolls, utterly unbothered by the nervous guards and twitchy ambassadors around him. The second Harvester invasion came a month later. This time, the galaxy begged Earth to take point. Fleets assembled nervously around the tiny Starfighter, every alien eye glued to it. The Harvesters surged again, black tide across the stars. Gray yawned. One shot again, or shall we get creative? He got creative. The little Starfighter didn't just fire. It danced. It weaved through harvester lines, firing needles that unraveled ships in silent chain reactions. Entire armadas folded in elegant cascades of collapse. The fighter itself seemed untouchable, slipping through enemy fire like it knew the pattern before it was written. Aliens watched with a kind of horrified awe. The battle ended in 20 minutes. When the smoke cleared, Gray's fighter drifted calmly among the wreckage. He leaned back, took another sip of coffee, and said, "Well, that was fun. Who's buying dinner?" The galaxy had gone from laughter to worship. And worship, Gray knew, was just another form of fear. They invited Earth into the assembly as a full power. They offered fleets, planets, entire star systems as tribute. They whispered prayers in human names. Some even called Gray the Harbinger. But Gray, he just kept smiling. Because here was the truth he never told them. Humanity didn't just stumble on the needle by accident. They hadn't built one Starfighter as a joke. They had built thousands. The one the galaxy laughed at? It was only the prototype. And while the galaxy squabbled, while they argued and panicked and begged, Earth's quiet little planet was churning out Starfighter after Starfighter, each carrying a needle of its own. The final twist came when the Harvesters stopped attacking. Not because they'd been destroyed. Not because they'd surrendered. But because they'd realized something the galaxy hadn't yet. The real predators weren't the Harvesters. They were the humans. So the Harvesters fled. Not from the galaxy's combined might. Not from fleets of dreadnoughts. But from the bus-sized ships with peeling paint and coffee stains on the dashboard. From the species that smiled politely while dismantling entire armadas. From Earth. And when the galaxy, trembling, asked Captain Gray what humans truly wanted, what they would demand, what price they would exact for their impossible power, he just gave that infuriating little shrug. "Oh, nothing much," he said with that polite menace. "Just respect. Maybe a little quiet, for once. And perhaps," he sipped his coffee, smiling faintly, "someone to keep the galaxy laughing. It's healthier that way." But the smile never reached his eyes. Because the truth was, humans didn't want tribute, or thrones, or worship. They wanted what they'd always wanted: survival. And if survival meant becoming the galaxy's nightmare, then so be it. After all, the galaxy had laughed at Earth's tiny Starfighter. And then it fired once. And the laughing never came back.